All right, 33 points to 7. The Springboks dominate Australia in the first game of the Rugby Championship. Now, I think we need to look at this game as a whole. If we came into this game and said by the end of it we'll win the game 33 points to 7, I think every single Springbok fan would have taken that. But watching the game and seeing exactly how it went down, I think the Springboks, if we can even say this, slightly underperformed. I mean, the amount of dominance that the Springboks had in that game to only score 33 points, such silly mistakes left, right, and center. It just wasn't a clinical performance. And again, it's very difficult for me to sit here and say these things after we've just won in Brisbane for the first time in 13 years. We've only won in Brisbane 3 times before today. The first one being in 1951, the other one 1970s, and then 2013. So to get a win in Brisbane is absolutely massive. But again, it shows how good the Springboks are. I think this was probably a 6.5 out of 10 performance in a whole. And it's kind of scary to think if the Springboks are firing on all cylinders at that 10 out of 10 mark, how dangerous they can be. So I think let's break this down a little bit, right? We had some questions coming into this game. How was Sasha Fanbogengumazulu going to handle the pressure of being the Springbok number 10? I think he did an okay job. I'm not going to sit here and shout his praises off the top of a mountain. Yes, he played very, very well for his first start in that Springbok number 10 jersey. It's a very, very difficult position to play, especially in the Springbok setup. I think he probably had a 7 out of 10 performance. I think, yes, he was probably a little bit nervous. We saw that with that first kick. I think he missed another kick. But again, not a bad performance at all. 7 out of 10, like I say. And I think what he does provide that maybe some other fly-offs in the Springbok cap don't provide is that counter-attacking capability. And that first off, we saw him get the ball in backfield and then break through that line, offloaded to Villy, and then Villy just went into contact when we had a 3-on-1, and he should have just gave it out wide, and we would have had a certain try. So I do think Sasha gives us that ability to counteract. He's more of an attacking fly-off. And I do think under Tony Brown's system and whatever Rassie's cooking up, we'll get into that because he's been in the kitchen cooking. Whatever that is, I think Sasha is the perfect mold in that number 10 jersey. I think Pollard probably doesn't provide that counter-attacking capability. He isn't as attacking. Marnie probably provides a little bit more of that counter-attacking capability than that of Handré Pollard. But a very, very solid performance from Sasha. I think that's what you can expect him playing in his first game, and he's only going to elevate and get better from here. He also just looks so comfortable in that number 10 jersey. From kickoff, he looked super chilled, super composed. It looks like he belongs there. So I think Sasha Fanbogengumazulu has a massive future ahead of him. The next question was probably, how is Ulrich Lowe going to perform? Again, there was big talk leading up to this. Should Evan Ruiz been selected, or should Ulrich Lowe have been selected? With Kwagga coming off the bench, should Kwagga be starting? I think Ulrich Lowe had a phenomenal game for the Springboks. He brought what a number 8 in a Springbok team needs to provide. That physicality, he gets over the gain line. He's there at the breakdowns. He's making tackle after tackle. I thought Ulrich Lowe looked very, very good in that number 8 jersey. And I'll even go as far to say that I think he could be pushing Jasper Visser for that 8 jersey by the time New Zealand come to South Africa. I wouldn't be surprised to see Ulrich start again in the second test, and I think he deserves it. I think it was a phenomenal performance by him, and there's been a lot of critics along the line of saying maybe Ulrich isn't big enough, maybe he shouldn't be starting for the Springboks, but he proved today, yes, he had a great second half against Portugal. People were saying it's against Portugal. How much can you really tell about a player against Portugal? Well, I think Ulrich Lowe put that to bed today. He really, really showed out very, very impressive stuff from Ulrich Lowe. Then if we just go down the team list and I think talk about the set pieces, our scrum, absolutely dominant. Ox, Bongi in the first half, and Frans Malherbe put in an absolutely massive shift at scrum time. I mean, I think the territory was about 75% for the Springboks in that first half, and that was all because of those scrum penalties, then getting down the field, another scrum, another penalty. Just absolutely dominant, and you can really see that Don Human has really been working with the front row, because Australia are normally a little bit difficult to scrum against, but we absolutely dominated them in that first half, and that just set the tone for the game. Eben and Peter Steff at lock time. Again, Argeus Snyman got injured yesterday. They said Rowan Nokia would have actually come in for Argeus Snyman, but he also ended up getting injured. So then Salman Murat had to come and fill in on the bench. Peter Steff moved from 7 to lock, and then Ben Jason Dixon started at 7. I like that lock pairing. I think Peter Steff had another phenomenal game. Eben also had a very, very good game. It was a bit of a pity when he had that break on the wing and then they tackled him out. I thought if we could just recycle that ball, then we were in for all money. But Peter Steff, I mean, you know what you're going to get from him. Absolutely phenomenal performance. And then you look at a guy like Ben Jason Dixon, who wasn't meant to be starting, gets thrown the jumper probably yesterday, and now he's got to mentally prepare to start against Australia. I thought he did a very, very good job. He's definitely one for the future, and he provides us with a little bit of a different option to maybe Peter Steff at 7. I love Peter Steff at lock and Ben Jason Dixon on the side of the scrum. I think that's a very, very good combination. Sia also had a very good game, and then we've touched on Ulrich at 8. Kobus Reinach got the start, and I was wondering how's he going to go, but he looked very, very good. Yes, a couple of loose passes. Australia were putting a lot of pressure on him at the breakdown, and maybe that forced a couple of the mistakes. But I did think Kobus Reinach had a very, very good game, and then Grant Williams came off the bench, and he always provides some impact, and that's exactly what he did. I mean, setting up that try for Quagga Smith, running around the ruck, drawing in, and then offloading to Quagga was beautiful stuff from Grant Williams. And I wouldn't mind seeing Grant start next week. I think Rassie might give him a go starting with Kobus on the bench, or maybe even Morne van den Berg on the bench. Now that we've sort of gauged Australia, we know that we are 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 levels above Australia. So maybe it gives Rassie Erasmus a little bit of leeway to test and tinker and test different combinations in preparation for those New Zealand tests. Then into the centre pairing, I think Damien Delende had a very, very good game. Jesse Creel with that assist to Kurtley Arendse. Jesse makes the break, and then a beautiful cutout pass to Kurtley Arendse to score in the corner. Cheslin and Kurtley, I mean, they always have good games. Cheslin put the ball into the scrum, threw out in a line out, and played wing for the Springboks today. So that can do absolutely everything. Kurtley Arendse scoring a try from absolutely nowhere. There's no way in chance that he should be getting through the middle of that Australian ball that's just broken up, and he just darts through there and puts the ball down. He had a phenomenal game. And then Willie, I thought Willie was a little bit quiet. I also think his decision-making probably wasn't the best that it's been, especially that 3-on-1. I mean, all we have to do is just swing the ball, and we've got a try there. So, Willie, I'm not too sure about it. I wouldn't be surprised to see Fussy get a go in that number 15 jersey next week again, just to test it out. I don't think we're going to ring too many changes, but I do think there will be a couple of surprising calls. And then the bench come on and make an impact. I mean, Quagga comes on, makes a massive, massive impact. And again, there is an argument for Quagga to be starting, but I just think he's so good coming off of the bench. He came on, made a steal, scored a try. I mean, he's just phenomenal coming off the bench. I thought the rest of the bench was here and there, not too much impact, but again, we had set such a good platform in sort of the first 60 minutes that they didn't really have to impact the game too much. And then I just want to close off by saying that Rassie Erasmus is a mad, mad genius. I mean, the line-out play, going to the back pod, then the back pod throwing to the front pod, I've never seen that before, and it worked very, very well. And maybe he's setting a little bit of a trap for New Zealand. Maybe they're not going to use that. Maybe they will use it against New Zealand. And then also Cheslin putting the ball off the scrum so that we have an extra man in the back line is just another small tweak that's absolutely genius. I think Rassie Erasmus is cooking up a storm at the moment with Tony Brown as the attack coach. I think they've finally got the base, right? We've won 2 World Cups, we've got the base players, and now we're trying to see how we can elevate our game in different ways. We saw a lot more running rugby from the Springboks today, and Sasha Fynbong Ngumazulu is at the forefront of that. So just a very, very dominant performance from the Springboks, but I don't think it's our best performance. 6.5 out of 10. I think we probably should have put more than 50 points on the Australians. The amount of time we got into the 22, the amount of opportunities we have. When we get those opportunities against New Zealand, we have to take them. I think we were in Australia's 22 over 10 times, and to only come away with the tries that we did is a little bit disappointing. Also conceding that try sort of 3 minutes to full time would have been nice to keep them to a nice Easter egg. But overall, I think we'll be happy with that performance. I think breaking that curse in Brisbane, we've now got our rugby championship off to a very, very good start, and it's sending signals to Argentina and New Zealand that the Springboks mean business, and the Springboks are coming to win the rugby championship, winning 6 games out of 6. I don't think the Springboks should be losing a game in this rugby championship, because we've just showed our quality and we've just showed the ceiling that we can hit. So good performance by the Springboks, not the best. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. If you haven't, please absolutely murder that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take it easy.